Good day, everyone, and welcome to Women in Data Science Trinidad and Tobago's Spotlight Talk. I am Dr. Leticia Addison, the WiDS TT, as we call it for short, ambassador. And today I have the ultimate pleasure of bringing one of my dearest, I would say, colleagues, mentees, friends, Miss Audrey Young, to talk to us today about Beyond the Stats, Data Inclusion, and Youth Leadership. So before we jump into what Audrey is going to talk about today, let me first give you a little bit of a rundown for those of you who are here for the first time about what we do at WiDS TT. So WiDS TT is part of a global organization, and we host independent events aligned with the Global WiDS Data Challenge, where we attempt to build data literacy at every level, including data science, statistics, for empowerment, inspiration, motivation, and elevation of women, girls, and of course, all data enthusiasts across the globe. Our events are open to all, and we really like to integrate the applications of data science and, of course, various aspects of statistics into real world. So if you want to find out more about our workshops, our forums, our spotlight talks like these, feel free to jump into widstt.com and you could see more information about those there. But without further ado, let us jump straight into first meeting our speaker, Miss Audrey Young. Audrey is the ambassador for the WiDS San Jose Youth Group, the chapter, and she is an award-winning Carpe Datum podcaster. So let me tell you a little bit about Audrey before she gives you a little bit about her background in terms of statistics and data science. So Audrey is a current high school senior in the US, and she's aspiring to be a data scientist. She's very, very passionate about empowering others through data literacy, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Audrey personally at the WiDS conference in 2023 or 24, I believe it was, and it was such an interesting and very, very enjoyable meeting to have, as two ambassadors, but also two persons very passionate about statistics. And I could tell you Audrey is extremely passionate about the field as a WiDS ambassador and a recent awardee of the Carpe Datum Podcast Award for the Best Technology Podcaster. She continues to feature diverse voices in data science on her podcast. She's also led a datathon for underserved middle schoolers teaching Python coding and data visualization. And she's also the founder of Beyond the Stats, a club promoting diversity and inclusion, and of course, data-driven thinking. And Audrey is extremely committed to using data for social good and inspiring the next generation of STEM leaders. And I'm very excited for her to share a lot about her background and her portfolio and her, dreams and aspirations to the world. So Audrey, without further ado, we are going to invite you now to do your spotlight presentation. So I'm going to give you the floor and you can share your thoughts and sentiments with our audience.
Of course. Thank you so much again for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here. And it's also been just really great working with Letitia these past couple of years and learning a lot from her. So I know Letitia already kind of gave a background, but again, my name is Audrey. I'm a rising senior and I'm an aspiring data scientist. And I just am really passionate about making data science accessible. So that's why I try and pass it on to the next generation, doing these activities and making it fun. Today, my talk is not really going to be very technical. It's just going to be more of a show and tell of all the work I do and seeing how you can make an impact with data science. So I had a mission of just making data science really accessible and more engaging to young audiences. So I saw in my own school that there were not as many females in my own CS class, so I really wanted to give an opportunity and a space for people to feel welcome, especially girls, so they can learn these type of skills. So that's why I founded Beyond the Stats. It's a student-led club, and I just want to promote data-driven thinking and really foster just curiosity in the field. And so some of the activities we've done is just interpreting data to better understand current events. And we do a lot of analyzing of like New York time graphs and just very applicable to what we do now. So, for example, the left graphic is just of different songs that are like top hits, and it makes data science seem not as scary. So, we just do not intimidating graphics to make it more connectable. And we've also tried to do things that are just not on headline numbers. For example, if you see a statistic on news where we go beyond and ask questions about like why are they saying this, and if there's maybe a misinterpretation of how they're scaling it to make it seem like something is true when maybe it's not. And we also just try to build practical skills like data literacy and storytelling, especially in the 21st century where data science is really rapidly growing and just super important. And those are some of the activities we do in the club. And beyond that, I also have had the opportunity where my statistics teacher let me peer tutor another student. They were a senior and I was a junior, but although there was like a grade difference, we still really got along, and I was able to kind of pass on what I learned through that class and help him out. But it was really a great experience to also reinforce what I learned. So outside of outreach and beyond school, I've also done some speaking engagements. So it's not pictured on here, but I have hosted Datathon events like Letitia mentioned. And so one of them was at my local middle school. We actually used Netflix subscription data and we analyzed it to see like what's the most popular and at what times, and like just viewer counts, and trying to see what are future trends that we could pull from that. And so there were not that many students that showed up for that, but it was very, very cool to see all of them being able to have a data visual at the end and being able to actually interpret it and present it to their teacher. And it seemed like they had a good time. They were smiling, so that made me really happy as well. And so we're planning to do some more events like that this coming year. And as Letitia mentioned, I know we did a Women in Data Science meetup conference, and I did present there for a poster blitz. And a lot of people did research, and at the time I wasn't doing research, but I did have some principles I learned just from doing the podcast and interviewing people. So I kind of tied all those lessons and skills together into a fun acronym that is going to be a lot easier to remember. And then also at the time, Girl Scout cookies were selling. So I was just like, okay, I'll also tie it to that. So there's the s'mores um, acronym that I made, and it stands for stories, mindset, opportunity, engagement, relatability, and support. And I think these all kind of just encompass all the skills that are really crucial and important, not just for yourself, but to uplift other people in the field. And it can really be applied to anything. So I just wanted to tie it to an experience I feel like not only I have, but a lot of other people I've talked to had. So I know when I was young, I always was like, I'm not good at math, or I was just really scared because it's like, what am I gonna do with this skill? And I was just like, it's very formulaic, but I knew that it is a really important just as a basic understanding and skill. So I wanted to see how I can maybe flip it on its head and like take a growth mindset approach to it. So that's how the acronym kind of came about. But the stories is just so you can hear other people's other experiences and learn from those to maybe help you yourself and just maybe make a personal connection with that person. Mindset is really, really crucial. If you have all the skills, but you're not persistent, it's really hard to keep on going. So having a growth mindset is great. And then giving opportunities even to youth, I think, is really crucial. So just even if it's a group chat on data science or even not related, just having that community, I think, is really important as well. And engagement, like it's really great to have all this research, but sometimes it's not as applicable or understandable to the general public. So making them accessible to that audience is really crucial as well. And then just making it relatable kind of ties to the engagement. So all of these do tie together. And yeah, support is really, really important. I did not really have a support system until I found women in data science, and that's also how I found Letitia. So always going out, reaching out, and just networking, not even for expecting anything, just to make those connections, I think is really, really nice. So in the picture over there, I am presenting to other like college students and people in the workforce. So that was a little scary, but it was really nice just to hear their perspectives and like see how actually what I am presenting is very also prevalent in their work. And so it was really, really fun to attend those events. So I highly encourage everyone to just go to a conference or networking event. And even though I was probably one of the younger people there as a high schooler, I still got a lot of information out of it. So it was very valuable. And those people that I met at the conference today, I was able to learn more from them outside of that area too. So you never know what you can get from just talking to people. And so for the Carpe Diem podcast, I've been doing that around 2 years now. And it started as something that I just wanted to learn more from other people. But I also realized that I could just also record these and help other people as well. I saw that a statistic once that was there's only 15% women in the field of data science. So I really wanted to change that and flip it where we can have it introduced to a younger audience so they have more options for the future. I did find a lot of resources where there were like people who are in college to transition to data science or people that are already in the work field trying to integrate that into what they're doing, but not as many resources for people that are just starting out at such a young age. So I wanted to kind of give light to that and also share people's stories. And InfoBytes is kind of a coalition of everything I do. So I have the podcast there and then also just updates on how to stay on top of like data and all that. But all of these are kind of more speaking and outreach. So I think just tying for what I want to do, I think it's really nice to do that. Oh, also my interest in data, I know before in the last slide, I just said I didn't do research at the time, but later I did do research and it was actually not something I was super into. I've always heard about like mental health, but didn't really have much of a connection to it other than you should look over your mental health for the sake of being healthy. But I did do research last summer and it was on mental health and physical health, looking at those different factors and seeing how they influence each other and what correlations there are. So after I did that, I was like, I don't really know if I should do something related to that, but I did know that I liked music and mental health was still very applicable and important to me. So I was like, maybe I can do something not just mental health and physical health related, but maybe I can tie mental health and music together. So I did a secondary data research on that, and I found there was a correlation, a positive one. So I kind of didn't want to just leave all the data there. I wanted to do something with it. So I did teach, and although it was a little difficult at first to get everything going, I could actually see the impact and it was very, very inspiring. So it's one of my favorite things to do. So it's just really awesome to see data connected with like real impact. I kind of mentioned this already, but data really doesn't just belong in research labs or textbooks. It can bridge communication. So just having those ideas and actually integrating it into society is really impactful and meaningful to me. So it's just been really great to see where it can go, and I'm just really excited for the future.
That is such an excellent presentation there, Audrey, and really just gave a really comprehensive walk through everything that you have done. I'm still so impressed because it feels like somebody who has like 20 something years of experience and you're just in high school and really, have gained so much experience in the field already. And I feel like you're such a STEM leader. So I think that from everything that you spoke about, I guess people want to know if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, you told us a lot in terms of like your interests and your portfolio, but who is you, Audrey Young?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question because I don't want to just say all these things I do and all these numbers. I want to really give some light into who I actually am. So, again, my name is Audrey. I am an aspiring data scientist, but outside of that, I do enjoy art and photography. I recently got a phone camera and I've been doing photography for a while, but I really think it does complement like the analytical skills. And I just love to blend different like creative perspectives and also the data-driven thinking to science communication, which is something I think is really cool, and just making complex concepts more engaging and accessible. That's my big goal.
Love that. And that really shines through in the way you speak because it really feels like when I hear you speak, everything is so much simpler to understand. And I feel like that is really such a great skill that you have. And of course, you've done so many cool projects already from your award-winning podcast, which we'll delve into in a little bit, to mental health data work that is extremely important that you were really just speaking about. So what we want to know is what first got you excited about using data to explore these real world issues?
Hmm. Yeah, I actually didn't start out as someone who liked math at all. I really tried to avoid it altogether. But it was when I took this intro to probability class that really it shifted my mindset and how I saw how it could be used as a tool instead. So there was a keynote speaker and her name was Judy Logan. She was really inspiring, but also the professor was that I was learning from was actually a female, and she taught us how probability was used in search and rescue operations, and it was actually helping people saving their lives. So I was just blown away by that. And I just realized that STEM isn't just so scary, but it's really, really impactful and it's doing great work. So I really wanted to just see where I could go with that. And I got really excited to see that Judy Logan's was talking about the women in data science community, and I joined that. And all these people there were just doing amazing things in their field. And I wanted to also go on that and do something on my own. So I guess I did launch my podcast to kind of demystify STEM because it is a rapidly growing field, but what does that even mean? And what even is data science? So I kind of dive into those topics. And there was a mental health work. I did a lot on that. So I just wanted to see how health data can really empower those because in the end it does affect us all, but just seeing what the real world impact is what keeps me going for these real world issues.
Excellent. And I mean, it's so interesting, really to see how passionate you are about using data for social good, especially. And of course, I mean, I must say congratulations on winning your award for your very successful Cafe Datum podcast. I mean, I was also very happy to be one of your guests on that. And of course, you have your community called Beyond the Stats. So, I mean, these are two very huge accomplishments in terms of building community. What inspired you to start, of course, your podcast, and what's one moment from that journey that has really stuck with you?
Yeah, so for my podcast, I started it because I saw I heard of the underrepresentation in the field. But myself, I actually didn't really feel it because I was always surrounded by women and just seeing that they were doing so much amazing work. But I did want to know, like, how to actually translate that into other people's lives because maybe it's not much of an option for them. So I that's why I started the podcast to really give a community and have them be able to be like, "Oh, there are more women in this field and it is pretty cool." And so just really creating opportunities for them to showcase that and just really also aligning with the WIDS mission of 30% by 3030. So just really increasing that female participation is what's inspired me to start it. But one moment in my journey, I think that really stuck with me. More generally, I think it was hearing someone say, one of the interviewees for the International Women's Day, they were saying how I actually tied everything they wanted to say really well. And I know that's such a small moment, but it made me really happy. And feel like the work I was doing paid off. And also, most recently, for my fourth season of recordings for a podcast, which is not out yet, there was one speaker telling me that after the recording, it was such a beautiful connection, and like we can really be friends after this. So, not just having that recording call, but really having like a friend after that. So, I think that just seeing the impact and the inspiration from others really made me happy of what I was doing.
Yes, that is amazing. I mean, just sharing those experiences really shows the impact you have. And it's not small at all. It's actually a huge impact. Everything that you do, and especially these recordings and communications, particularly podcasts. I think when I connected with you in the podcast as well, really could sense how passionate you are, but also how humble and down to earth. And I think those are really amazing traits to keep going forward with. So I'm really, really happy that you are seeing the impact of the work that you're doing currently. And I mean, it keeps going because I see you've led workshops. So you really have been going into more of a leadership type of role, teaching coding to the students. But of course, with the opportunities come challenges. So what's one challenge you faced as a young leader and how did you overcome that?
I think that as a young person, I did have not as many barriers as maybe someone else would. So I was like, oh, I want to do a lot of these ideas, but I didn't really know how to execute them in such unfamiliar spaces. And I was not just wanting to put that to the ground, I did want to do something about it. So I think what really changed my perspective was actually reframing it and seeing that I don't need to be the expert in what I do, but I can learn from it and be the person who creates the conditions to actually thrive for other people. So that's what I did. And I responded by like not just doing things on my own, but actually reaching out and asking questions. And I just really wanted to build something where it wasn't beyond me. And I think what I've learned by doing these podcasts, these club meetings, and just other events in general is just sometimes it's okay to just take a step back and listen to other people and take that information in and then apply it instead of just go, go, go. That mindset might be a little bit harder to take on, but just really adjust the role as you go on and being flexible to the environment and just make sure that you're being respectful to everyone that you interact with.
Gosh, that is so amazing. The way you just said, take a step back and listen to other people. I mean, that is truly golden advice because it really shows, a lot of empathy, and a lot of emotional intelligence, which I really think are going to really create that future for you, the future version of Audrey, who's going to continue to do amazing things. So thank you for that. You actually gave me some advice myself. Take a step back and and listen to others as well. Um, and that really brings me to like thinking about your applied research. I mean, a lot of your research projects touch on serious topics like mental health. Why do you think that it's important for young people to use data to talk about these issues?
I think especially now, we hear conversations about mental health and social media all the time. And it might matter, but when you back it up with evidence, it becomes much harder to ignore. So I think that's where research and putting it into practice can actually really drive change.
If another teenager is watching and thinking, I am not really sure data science is for me, what would you say to encourage them to give it a try?
For people that are kind of not sure if they want to go into data science, I would say it's not really just about coding or math. It's good to know and it's foundational, but it's really about just being curious. And I mean, 90% of the data has been made in the last couple of years. So there's just really so much opportunity, and I've been told to follow the opportunity. So that's what I'm doing. And really, there's no limit because it is so interdisciplinary. It can be applied really to anything. And even if you don't really see yourself becoming a full-time data scientist per se, you can make more informed decisions by like knowing what the basic principles because the world is so data driven and it's just really important to build on those skills.
Absolutely. And I mean, just as you said, you don't necessarily have to be a data scientist, but everything that we're doing now involves some level of data. And of course, a lot of math goes into that too. So it really is important to really appreciate that. Any closing remarks that you want to give our audience before they go in terms of where you see yourself going further from this point?
I think that, again, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to just share my story and also be a part of this. So, I mean, as someone who did not like STEM, again, I think just try to be involved and learn from others, take in as much as you can, and follow the opportunity. That's like my motto. And don't be afraid to make mistakes because it's always just a stepping stone to the next thing and you can always apply it. So I think that's kind of my message.
Excellent. And of course, stay curious.
Yes, thank
Right?
you.
So thank you so much, Audrey. It has been such a pleasure to have you on our channel, and all the information Audrey shared regarding her podcast and all her other activities. We will share that with you as well in the description box for the video. And of course, please continue to join us for our Spotlight Talks, and we will see you in the next one.